Okay, the floor is yours, April.
Hi everyone. My name is April. I have 59 days today. You're gonna have to give me a second because I'm trying to stabilize the camera. I told you I was running around. I'm sorry. Um, okay. So I tried to sit down and uh make bulletin points, but for some reason I was distracted and I couldn't do it. So I guess you're gonna get what you get tonight. I so I always laugh when I start this story, but there is a reason that I even say this. So I was born in Florida, in Tampa. My mom and my dad weren't married. My mom had a CPS case with my older brother. Um, she's she was a whole nother story. We'll get to a little bit of that. But basically, when I was around a year old, my dad kidnapped me to New York. Literally, he had a family friend slash his old girlfriend. Her name's Dawn. He had her and my uncle take me on a plane to New York from Florida. My mom thought, I guess this is what I know. My mom thought that they were going to fix his license and that we'd be back, whatever. My dad took a separate plane up there, and this was obviously like orchestrated. Lawyers were involved and consulted. And 2 weeks after getting to New York, my dad was in a really serious car accident. Um, he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He slid into the wheel well of the truck, and he broke his neck. He um, was supposed to survive with paralyzed from his chest down, wheelchair bound, but faculties intact and live a decently long life, I guess. However, the hospital messed up, took him into surgery when they shouldn't have. He stopped breathing. Things happened. So, because of that, he was now paraplegic. He had a trach, couldn't speak. He at that point lived. This is what I remember of my dad. This is why I'm sharing this. He lived in a hospital bed for the next 5 years until I was 6, and he passed away from pneumonia. My grandparents. So during this time, I didn't know my mother. I never saw her. I never met her. I grew up with my dad's parents. So I grew up with my grandparents. And they had, sorry, I'm going to lose my train of thought. I apologize. So they had a big addition built onto the house so that he could live there. And after he died, it turned into the dining room. And I can't, for some reason, every time I tell this story, I say that because it just still really like boggles my mind that that's a thing. Um, and my grandma, I also grew up calling her mom, so that's another kind of little weird thing. I wouldn't have done that, but I'm not her. Um, at this point, I didn't meet my mom until I was 17. And the only reason I met her was because I got a birthday card in the mail from my grandmother, my mom's mom. It had $20 bill in it, which is weird because I had never spoken to these people before. I didn't know them. I didn't know who they were, where they lived. I didn't know anything about my mom or her family. But I happened to get the mail that day, and so I opened it. And because of that, I met her, and it was a horrible experience, and I hated her. And I I flew down. She happened to live in Florida. I flew down to Florida from New York, and I called my grandma and I asked her to get me on a plane back the next day. I didn't really want anything to do with her or my 4 half siblings that she had and her husband. Um, so that's like I was 17 when that happened. We're going to rewind a little bit. There's a lot of drugs that come into play before that. I was doing hard drugs by 14 and I was shooting heroin at 16. I didn't grow up with any consequences. My grandparents, like literally, me getting in trouble was getting yelled at, and that was it. Money was like it grew on trees. Like literally, it was handed to me. I got everything I asked for. I would like, single space type front and back of a piece of paper for my Christmas list, and I would get every single thing on it. And I bring that up because uh, that made things very, very difficult for me later in life. Because I didn't know the value of a dollar, and that's a scary thing when you're an adult. Anyway, so drugs came into play. I did what I wanted. I was an athlete. I was great in school until I wasn't. You know, all those kind of normal things. I didn't have any friends in elementary school because I was the weird kid. I lived with my grandparents. I wasn't allowed to wear jeans. I had to wear dresses with leggings always. Everything was very strict. I wasn't allowed to shave my legs. So I was 16, for example. I, cheated on that one too. Lots of other things. She told me I would die if I ever used a tampon and then threw the box at my head when she found that I had them. So some crazy stuff there. But I had gotten arrested quite a few times. I had some trafficking charges that my grandma paid for a good lawyer to get rid of. I had a lot of possession charges after that because heroin became the only thing I cared about in life. And the last time I got arrested in New York, my bail was $200, and my grandma wouldn't bail me out, and I couldn't find anyone else to bail me out either. And that was when I knew that I was like alone. That was the first time I ever really felt, I guess, that alone. So I wound up going through drug court. My grandma spoke to me here and there. We're at 18, 19 years old now. Sorry, let me back up a tiny bit. My grandfather passed away when I was 18. He was the most important person in my life. And he never would have let me sit there for $200. I do know that. But no, it really fucked me up. It was that was the second father figure gone. And yeah. So I just kind of like just went harder at everything. And 2 weeks after he died, my grandma sent me to rehab for 35 days in Florida. When I came back, that's when I got arrested and got put on drug court. So I finished drug court when I was, no, I didn't finish it technically. There's something called breakout time where if you don't want to finish it, you have to do a certain amount of time in jail. I did a lot of jail rehab. Those days counted towards days in jail. So I wound up getting out. Since I didn't actually complete the program, my grandma said I couldn't come home. So she had my uncle get on a plane with me and escort me to Florida to have me leave the state of New York. And handed me off to my mother, who I had met once. And, I went to go live in there in a very different way than I grew up. Let's just say that. So there's some, no drugs happening because I didn't know where to get any. I wound up, so Dawn, the woman that helped kidnap me, comes into play again. She finds me. Turns out she lives about 40 minutes away from where my mom lives. She comes and picks me up and takes me to her house. Now, they live more like I was used to, like how I grew up. And I was honest with her. I told her I'm a heroin addict. I just got out of jail a couple weeks ago, all this stuff. She didn't care. And that very day asked if I would move in with them. And I did. And that's how I wound up meeting my now ex-ish husband. It's a long story there. But yeah, there was just lots of drugs, lots of jail. Then I got pregnant with Layla, my daughter, when I was 22. Had her when I was 23. Was doing pretty well for a while. You know, we were really broke. We'd have pizza and beer on Friday nights, and that was about it. That was the extent of my drug use at that point. As much as I wanted to be doing much more. Because I was miserable. I had been miserable for as long as I could remember. So then I'm trying to fast forward here. I get arrested again before Layla, actually. And I had 4 burglary charges. Walmart wouldn't hire me. I tried. But I wound up being able to get those records sealed. And after I had Layla, I went to school for medical billing and coding. And so I got my certification as a medical coder. And because of that one good decision, I don't think I made very many in my 20s. But that decision really has shaped my life because it has given me a career that I've been able to fall back on time and time again. And so, well, I'll try and fast forward here a little. There was an inheritance because when it was the hospital's fault that my dad died. And I actually didn't really know about it. And the bank contacted me. I had no idea. They told me that I needed a lawyer, had to go through probate, all this crazy stuff. Well, as soon as that happened, my grandmother stopped talking to me. Layla, my daughter, she was 1. And she has not spoken to me since. So that was 11 years ago. She she asked to take the money for raising me, even though I didn't ask her to do that. And what wound up happening is, yeah, some of it was split because I didn't want to fight. And anyway, we bought a house, we bought the cars, we were doing well, you know. We had a nice house with a pool, and my friend from work, she was my best friend. Her I'm not going to go into too crazy details about this, but her son, she had twins. Their birthday was September 29th, which also happened to be my husband and I's anniversary. And we were doing a 5-year vow renewal because we never had a wedding and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. The day before, her and I were at the mall doing last minute things, and he was at the house, and we had a fence around the pool. We had locks on the doors, but Jason managed to get around all of that. We don't know how. And my husband found him after his twin sister went and got his attention, and all he was doing was folding fucking towels. And he, you know, did everything he could. And Brittany and I went to the hospital, and but that he didn't make it. So after that, there was a lot of drugs again. Yeah, just, you know, just a lot of drugs. I was also in the middle of doing a nonprofit and trying to get laws changed, which we almost succeeded at. And then COVID happened. But yeah, so, but still drugs, lots of drugs during that time. And we were trying to get off of them because the money was going. I mean, the money was disappearing, and a lot of the money went into the nonprofit, and to me not working so I could work for the nonprofit, things like that. Um, so to try and get off of Dilaudid and all the shit we were on, um, we found Kratom. We found this really awesome freaking, disgusting ass powder that you would at first, like, we like mixed it up in whatever orange juice or iced tea or some shit, I don't know, and chugged it, and I couldn't do it. I would gag and puke, and I really wanted nothing to do with it. Then we found like capsules, and I'm like, oh, perfect. Turns out my stomach wanted to reject those too. Um, but it was still, uh, both of us used it on and off probably since 2018, I'd say. And it wasn't until I got caught on Thanksgiving in 2021. I got caught using heroin, and my daughter was not home for a month because of that. Um, she came back home, and we were doing everything we were asked to do, told to do, all the things, all the recovery things. And then my mom died, when when I was 6 months clean. Um, and she had oxys in her house, and I really didn't want to take them. I really wanted, I really wanted to take them, and I kind of almost wish I did at this point, because I had nowhere to get more oxys. But no, I took my ass to the smoke shop, and I bought Kratom, and I got an extract, and that was pretty much it. After that, I didn't stop, and I kept trying to. So that was in June of 2021. We also put my dog down a week before that. Um, we, I, we, both of us, my husband and I, tried to get off. I mean, it was a cycle. It was like a weekly, twice a month cycle of mostly me relapsing back on it every single time. And then withdrawing, and then day 5 or 6 feel a little bit better, but now I'm going crazy. And so right back to the smoke shop I go. And I did that for until, I don't know, whatever, 80 something days ago or whatever. Um, and at that point, um, you know, my husband and we have been, we've been separated, but living in the same house for probably about a year. And, but like the drugs, like Kratom was still such like a part of our lives that it became such a codependency. And this past time, finding this community, finding this group, finding my people, it changed everything. I mean, it really did. It changed everything. It changed. I don't know if I would say it changed me, but not me as like my core who I am. Just me as I realized, I don't hate myself. I realized that a lot of my problems, I've spent years trying to figure out what's wrong with me, why I hate my life, why I hate myself, why I hate where I am all the time, why I'm so anxious when I go home, why lots of things. Um, and I had like an epiphany that it's not all me. Um, so getting off Kratom has made my life so significantly better, just because I am free now. I'm free to do what I want to do, and finally actually figure out what that is. Um, I have somebody else in my life now who treats me the way I should be treated. And I am starting to believe that actually, I wasn't, um, I have friends in my life now that, aren't toxic. You know, they actually care. They want what's best for me. They cheer me on. But they don't go sign my bullshit either. And those are the kinds of friends I need. The ones that are gonna tell me, you know, hey, April, you're slipping, or, you know, what the fuck is up with this? Or why haven't you responded in 3 days? Because I will do shit like that. And that's when you know it's like, wait, what's going through her head? You know, that's when I know something's going through my head. It's probably not good if you haven't heard from me in 3 days. But if it wasn't for this community, I would not have what I have. And life's about to get pretty fucking difficult. I mean, I'm about to go through a divorce. I'm about to have to deal with custody. I'm about to deal with a lot of things that I never in my life thought I would. Because I thought that I was doing what I was supposed to do. You're supposed to do this. And I finally figured out that I don't have to keep numbing myself to live in some bullshit that's what I'm supposed to do, what everyone else thinks I should be doing. Because I realize that's what I've been doing this whole time, is numbing that part. And now I get to go find myself. And I have been, and it's been awesome. And I can only thank this group, the people in it, and getting to say fuck Kratom every fucking day. I feel so much better than I did. I feel like I have like a tiny bit of an advantage of like the like the 59-day mark, because I did have like those 30 days and then slipped for half a day, right? But at the same time, it really doesn't even, I don't even think it matters anymore. I think what matters is how I feel. And I could have 800 days or I could have 30 days, but if I feel changed, and I feel it in my heart and in my soul that I know things are different, that's where it's at. And that's where I'm at now. And that's because fuck Kratom. And I skipped over, I'm sure, a lot, but there's 30 minutes, so that's what I got, guys. I love you all. Fuck Kratom.
Man, thank you, April. What an amazing and inspiring story. I won't take up too much time, but I did want to say a couple of things. First of all, I know I'm not the only one that feels this way and has seen like just the total glow up. Oh my God. Yeah, it's like I always tell people this. It's like the light fucking comes back on, you know? It's Kratom does something to us that it just makes us like empty and dark almost. It's so weird what it does to us. And I've just watched you, just like you said, become yourself and thrive in recovery. And it's just a really, really fucking amazing thing to see. I related to so much of your story. I also found Kratom in an attempt looking for something to help me come off of other things. So I got that. And also the accountability feature of our wonderful group that we have formed here when we disappear and we check on each other. I love that shit so much. And definitely, if you were to disappear, somebody would be knocking on your chat door there wondering where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you
You just reminded me, like I totally skipped over. Sorry guys, but I skipped over the part where I also found out I'm not biologically related to the man I thought was my dad that died, or his parents, or any of that family. So I knew I was like skipping something that was like decently big. So I just found that out a little over a year and a half ago. And I have met my biological father. The universe was like, oh, whoops, here, I guess. I don't know. And I have 4 more siblings. I grew up an only child. I have 8. But I don't talk to hardly any of them. But I just wanted to like, yeah, throw that in there because it's a huge, giant piece of that puzzle. And I forgot per usual. So anyway, sorry. But you reminded me
No.
because you and I have a lot of the same shit. So yeah.
Yes, I'm glad I forgot to stop recording. So let me do that now.